Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and my guest tonight is Laura Thompson. Hey, Laura.
Hi, Laurie.
Laura's been doing double duty. She's producing stuff behind the scenes, and we decided we were having so much fun behind the scenes that we were going to do a show in front of the camera. And we came up with we want to emphasize points of view, which is the game that we both think is really kind of cool and. Really designed, it's a series of cards designed to bring right and left brain thinking together. And we're going to be very daring today. We're just going to choose cards. So the topic that we chose is bridges to understanding. And we thought that, okay, these are turmoil, times of turmoil and tribulation a little bit. So we thought, you know what, this might be a good opportunity to talk about how do we create bridges of understanding. What is your interpretation? Because this is I'm taking all credit for the terminology, but it's hers really. So, what is your thought on that?
Yeah, we decided to talk about a theme today, which I think is really nice.
Yeah.
And we chose bridges of understanding together, and it's basically because the world is in turmoil for the most part, for many different reasons. Our own country is in turmoil. We have, half the people with Republican ideas, the other half with Democratic ideas. And then you have also the fringes with their ideas.
Whatever they are, yeah.
And I think what's important is from a humanitarian perspective and also a coaching perspective is that we're able to put ourselves into each other's shoes to understand their point of view and to increase the trust between each other and understanding. And hopefully, these cards will direct us a little bit.
Hopefully, yeah. We were talking about, we're used to America being the leader and we have all the answers. And I think this last election showed that, okay, we don't have all the, or maybe half of us have all the answers, or I'm not sure any of us do, because as Laura said, it's very divisive right now. And now is the time for coaches to come to the call. And let's start doing bridges of understanding, and let's see let's emphasize our likenesses and our universality as opposed to all the things that it's so easy to say, oh, I'm in disagreement with this and everything else is going on. So we thought, okay, let's see where we end up. And I trust these cards so much that I convinced Laura, we'll just pick them randomly and see what we come up with. And she was all right.
Yeah, I was game for it.
Yeah, she was all right, we can do this.
Yeah, I like adventure.
All right, so I'll go first. Is
all
that
right.
good?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, for sure.
I'm going to pick this one, and it's going to say, oh my goodness, points of view, which is, now you'll notice these cards.
Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. These cards have pictures and they have captions, and sometimes the captions go with the pictures and sometimes they don't, and that's what makes them kind of fun. So for points of view, I think more than ever, we realize that our view is not the only point of view. And we have a tendency to walk along in what we're now calling our bubble, because we surround ourselves with friends who agree. I know that I kind of avoided people who were on the other side of my political thoughts for the last 6 months or so. I didn't avoid them, but I didn't interact with them on a political nature. And we have a tendency to gather around us things that reinforce our own views, and ignore. And I'm always amazed how people from one side can read something and people from the other side can read something, and the interpretations are 100% different. So I think what we're emphasizing with a bridge to understanding is that everybody has a point of view, and they all are correct in their mind. I know both Laura and I are from IPAC, and it's like one of their sayings is, and it was the hardest one for me to catch on to, it's like, there are no mistakes. And it's like, what? But at the given time, everybody's doing what they think is the best action that they can, the best thought, the best action. So I think what we need to do is realize, yes, we have a point of view. and they have a point of view, and others have totally different points of view. They're all
And
valid.
and I also think that we have to agree to disagree.
Oh, I love
Like,
that.
like
yeah.
I do have many friends with different points of view, and they do support different candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us respect each other for our points of view, which I
Right.
think is very refreshing. And then there are others that you just don't really talk about politics because they are so entrenched in their point of view, and it's very difficult to have a conversation with them.
Right, and I think back on your Thanksgiving dinner, if indeed you were in a big group this year, and realize that that just like you said, there are relatives you avoid. I'll sit over here, and they can sit way down there, or there are entire families you avoid. It's like, you know what, I'll hang out by myself this year, and if indeed you're in a group. It's so unlikely that everyone in your family is going to be on the same page, so it's like respect. I love the word respect.
Yeah,
what you
it's
said.
very
It's
important.
like you have to really respect that just as adamantly as you feel you're right, the other person feels they are also right. And I think we have to decide how important is being right, and that's, as Dr. Phil says, do you want to be a right fighter or do you want to be happy? It's hard. I like to be right, but it's a game we can work on. We can work on.
Yeah, and I guess that goes back to mindfulness and Buddhism, which I practice.
Yes.
And it's always about the middle path, the middle way, and how can we have an intelligent conversation with one another. So we can agree on certain concepts so we can find solutions to the problems.
Right.
And
right.
move forward. And hopefully it's a win-win scenario for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's the goal.
We don't have to hope. We're coaches. We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
We can guide.
Select, my lady.
All right,
See what you come up with.
It's like a fun game to play. All right,
she
I'll
gets a
choose
card
this
and it's
one.
like, oh no. Timing.
Timing.
And I never quite understood that card. I think it's a bird trying to land on a handle. I don't know what the timing thing is, but it's a cool card.
Well, maybe timing is of the essence. It's time that we learn.
I'll hold for you.
For some, maybe it's our enemies. They are the ones who are teaching us the big lessons in life. The timing is perfect in the world. We all have different issues that we're dealing with. In Europe and the United States, we're dealing with issues of racism, even neo-fascism, which is a little bit scary. In Europe, they're dealing a lot with the migration crisis. So, and then in other parts of the world, it's, lack of water.
Survival issues.
Survival issues. So it does seem like every place in the world has some kind of issue it's dealing with. So timing is of the essence. It's time to start addressing these issues. And part of it is through understanding one another. Try to understand yourself, your neighbor,
Right.
your colleagues at work. And again, putting yourself in the other person's shoes and having compassion for them too.
That's a big one. I'm going to go back to something you said, and it's like maybe the timing is that we've all kind of become a little complacent, and boy, not anymore. We're all shook up now. And because things are happening. I mean, there are tragedies all around the world. There's, the climate changes and natural catastrophes. There's political, religious, all of that. Maybe it's like what you were saying, let's look for the gift, let's look for the opportunity.
Yes.
And so maybe the timing is we're going, oh my gosh, how could this happen now? And it's like, well, maybe now is when it's supposed to happen. And so what can we do with it? It is happening now. So is this a time we dig in? Is this a time we talked about maybe getting a cave, but we decided we're gonna hang in there with the public. Is this a time you dig in? Is this a time you enrich yourself individually? Like, I know you're on a constant search. I love that you're doing Buddhism. Is it a time that you reach out to humanity and to service? whatever the timing is right. The timing is always right. In retrospect, look at your life. Look how right everything was. So the timing is right.
And the timing is right to turn the challenges into opportunities.
Exactly. I mean, either that or we can just keep bemoaning. It's like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So instead, let's look for the gifts. But I like that you said that. It's like, yeah, it's not that this could be happening at exactly the right time.
Yeah, the right timing.
Yeah, and we're just going to have to.
Everything they say happens at the right time.
Yes, they do.
It's like a principle, and maybe that's something we are learning all on a large scale.
I think, together, and that's good.
Together.
That's good. It's good in company. One of my favorite books is Das Boot, and I have no idea what that means. But one of the things is you get what you need, not when you want it, but when you need it. And it's like, okay, let's just accept we need what's going on, and maybe we do need it. Maybe we become complacent, and maybe we all need to reach out to one another.
Yeah, to address each other and have good conversations, have relationships with people.
Productive conversations, and flexible, being
flexible
open
thinking.
to other people, Yeah,
I think that's very important.
I do too. So I'm liking the cards so far.
Okay, now it's your
let's
turn.
go for broke. Let's see what we come up with now. Load. Okay, just when we were on such a high note, now we're gonna load it down. Load. Okay. This poor guy has 4,000 baskets on his, it's hard to see these, but it has 4,000 baskets on his back. And as you can see, unlike the other two cards, it's black and white. Load. Well, I think we've already acknowledged that the load is heavy right now. And what do you do? What do you do when you have a heavy load? Do you carry it until your back breaks? Do you separate it out in sections, in manageable sections? A favorite coaching thing is it's like you don't have to make it bite-sized. Make your goals bite-sized, right?
Yes.
So you don't have to. It's like, okay, I want to lose 100 pounds, but okay, but in the next week I want to lose 1, and that's workable. And 100's like, oh, forget about it. So bring it down to bite-sized pieces. If you feel that what's going on in the world right now, if you feel, let's say the holidays have come and the biggies are coming up in this month, if you feel that like, oh my God, it's just too much, I can't bake and I can't clean and I can't deal with relatives and I can't buy everybody a gift, it's like, what can you do? As opposed to what can't you do? What can you do? And do that. Take one tiny step. What is that? When the longest journey begins with one step? Is that Buddha?
No. That's
somebody else.
Lao Tzu.
Okay.
But
wise person.
But I was going to say the same thing.
Really? Yeah, wise person, whoever
very,
he was.
Very wise person from China.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Thousands of years ago.
See, he knew.
He knew.
So maybe that's what the load is. If the load is too heavy, and you know what we forgot? Get a friend to help you.
Yeah, that's right.
I like that,
yeah.
Get a friend to help you, or get a bunch of friends to help you, or organize a group, or whatever.
Yeah, share with community. Communities are powerful.
Yeah. So I did a taping for something called the Video Library of Wisdom, and one of the questions was, I know, I can't wait to see what.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, well, what do you do with anxiety and depression? How do you get rid of it? And my first go-to is when I feel that, once I remember, now I can wallow as well as the next person and just turn out the lights and, eat cookies, but I can...
and ice cream.
But then exactly, of course, ice cream. But after I get over that, then it's like service to others. Just take
definitely.
it out of get out of your box, get out of your pit that you're in.
I think, being of service to others, and that can be with your friends, you're sharing with one another. It can also be being of service to your community, helping out if you're religious, maybe with your church organization, like for Thanksgiving, you serve food to the homeless.
Christmas, you go down to the post office and get a letter to Santa and fill the kids' wishes. I mean, there's good stuff to be done.
There's a lot of good stuff to be done.
Yeah.
And going back to your point, step by step, that's so important. to break it into small steps because they're much more manageable and they're measurable.
Right.
And you can get through it rather than seeing this big, heavy load and it's weighing you down. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the 12-step programs have it, they got it one day at a time, you know, just one, that's all you got to do. Just do one minute at a time if necessary, but get it to where it's manageable. But don't, we all want to, there are some of us who go, okay, I'm just going to wait till 2020 and pray. But there's a lot of stuff that can be done in between, politically, religiously. I mean, climate-wise, there's certainly things that are going on every day, you know, for climate change.
Yes.
Get involved that way and feel like you're being a part of the change. And I know it was Gandhi, be the change that you want to see.
Right,
I never know who the quotes are. I just remember the quotes, but that I know was Gandhi. And it's like, be the change that you want to see, you know? And it doesn't have to, you don't have to lead a country into freedom, but, you know, lead yourself into freedom and then bring people with you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for example, I just contributed to water.org because I feel that's a big problem around the world.
Going to be, if not. Yeah, but it is right
it
now.
It is already, but it'll be even bigger going forward. And that was sort of my way of contributing. You know, being of service on in a different way. But
right, and then sharing that information, because you've got a lot of media outlets and stuff. You could always say, you know, hey, how about, you know, I just contributed. How about you?
Yeah,
you know?
how about you? Yeah, and I think the big goal, is to make the world a better place to live. And that can start right with you and your immediate surroundings, you know, your friends, your family, your neighbors.
I think it has to start with you. I think it has to. You know, we can wait and hope, and I don't turn down any opportunity like you did. And Water.org called you and you said, okay, sure, I'll give you some.
Yeah.
But I think it's even more rewarding if you can make it start with you. If you can initiate something. Or
it's
get
more empowering.
It is, and it gets you out of your funk.
Feel good.
It's like, okay, at least I did something good today.
Yeah, it makes you feel much better about yourself.
Definitely.
And we all want to feel better.
Yes, we do.
On a daily basis.
Yes, we do.
So,
all right, should we go for another one?
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah, it's been very interesting so far. Let's see. There's so many cards here. I don't know.
65 to be exact.
65. Oh,
innovation.
I like that.
I love it.
Innovation.
Yeah, cool.
That is cool.
I'll hold you talk.
So in times of challenges, we're looking for opportunities. And how do we do that? We have to think outside the box.
We have favorite coach expression, yeah.
Yeah, we have to be innovative, thinking with new ideas, thinking that opportunities are there and are even there that we don't even know about yet, and we just have to keep that open mind and keep experimenting. I mean,
that's good.
The biggest experimenters in life are the ones who made the huge breakthroughs.
I love the story about 409, that cleaning thing.
I don't know it.
Yeah, I like it, I use it all the time, 409, which is an all-purpose cleaner. And the reason it's called 409, it was because he tried it 408 times and it didn't work. And the 409th time was the one, so it's called 409. Who knew?
Yeah.
So that's called innovation and hang in there.
Yeah,
definitely.
And along with innovation, you have to be determined. You have to, you have to have tenacity, stick with the experimenting until it works.
Right. Or know when to give it up.
Or
the old serenity prayer, the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah.
When to give up and move on
to
another project. That's a very good point.
Yes.
That you made.
And innovation, I think it's, yes, definitely think out of the box, but it's like, I think rather, and check yourself every now and then, because it's like, well, I've always done it this way and it works, and it's like, yeah, but how else could it work, and how could it work for someone else? And it's like, see the problem, and rather than go moan and whine and cry, say, okay, what would make this better? What would make this better for me? And again, I hearken to the holidays. You know, I hate Christmas. I have people who say, oh, I hate Christmas. It's like, well, what would make it feel better for you? What would you know? And it's like, oh, if I had a normal family, not going to happen. So what else would make it happen? You know, what else would make this feel better for you? And if there's something that you're avoiding, I think I've told this secret before, but if I realize I'm doing it for the reason of fear or lack of security, then it's like, you gotta, or insecurity, you gotta go do it then, because now you're onto yourself, you guys. So it's like,
yeah, if you're fearing something, sometimes that is the message, to go for it,
yeah,
go after it,
and
not
innovation,
hold back.
definitely. Well, that's your choice is, well, I can stay scared or I can go do it and get it over with, you know. But one of my favorite sayings is, wherever you go, bring your own sunshine. So it's like,
yeah, that's
right?
sweet.
Isn't
Yeah,
that cute?
I like that.
It's like nobody guarantees you're going to have a good time, but you can guarantee that, or you can guarantee that you get something out of every experience. And that brings us back to what we were talking about, you know, what are the gifts in opposing views and opposing actions and things like that. So innovation's cool.
Yeah, and the point of view, as you were saying, it's shifting your perspective. And I like the question, what if? So it sort of forces you, what if? Like, if you think about it from another point of view, and you keep saying that, and then finally, you know, you might get your own mini breakthrough.
Yeah. And if you don't, okay, go back and evaluate. It's like, what would I do differently next time? If it didn't work this time, what would I do? And I'm sure that's what the poor 409 guy did 408 times. He didn't give up, so he didn't give up. All right, let's go. Let's see what else we got here. Leadership. Leadership.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think this is when Laura's talking about bridges of understanding, to understanding, and also timing, and all of these cards, load and innovation, all of the cards so far. Yeah, I think it's a time to decide: do you want to be a leader, or do you want to be a part of a group, or what is it that you want to do? And it doesn't. You don't have to lead if you don't feel comfortable. Be an active part of a group. Or do you want to innovate and start your own group? But I think it's a time for all of us to be leaders in our own lives. And by that, Laura alluded to that when she said, you know, Buddha and her path to self-awareness that she's constantly on, and we all are. It's like, first you have to lead your own life. First you have to decide how do I want to show up? What kind of person do I want to be? And what's going to get me there? What kind of person? And this was what kind of people do I want to surround myself with? You know, there are and coaches warn clients about energy drainers. Who drains your energy and who replenishes your supply? It doesn't mean that you can't ever be around an energy drainer, but you have to be aware that you need to replenish your own supply. So I think first you have to be a leader. To yourself.
Self-leadership is important. And we're all leaders in actuality.
We're all CEOs of our own lives. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, it starts with yourself, self-leadership, and then it goes outwards. And community is great. And you can be a follower too in a community. As you were saying, you know, maybe you're collaborating on a project and each person has their particular talent that they want to bring, and that's wonderful.
Right, or as in the recent protest, it's like somebody led the protest, but you were there and you were standing up for what you felt. You know, so I'm not sure it was a leader, but you were leading your integrity and your feelings. And so somebody organized it. I don't know who.
No.
There's a lot of theories about that, but we don't know. But what I love about this is this is a circle of hands, and hands of every hue, every color. And I don't think I think it's, again, stressing the universality and how we all can lead ourselves and how we all can agree on some essential principles like honesty and integrity and kindness and humanity of you know, we're all part of this big old game called the human race.
And building trust, going back to building trust.
Yes.
Because when you trust people, you're able to have, you know, intelligent conversations, understanding, you know, each person's point of view. And that again goes back to the world, which I love this photo because it is like hands of every color around the world. And we are making progress, of course, and throughout civilizations. I mean, it's been a long journey, I would say, for
And the journey never
mankind.
ends.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
tagline is life is
is a
not
journey.
life's a journey, not a destination. But when you
Yeah.
say trust, I think even more important is when you trust yourself. When you really come from the
Ah,
gut
yes.
and you go with good intentions, then you can trust others. And I think with the trust in the others, I think it would be believing that there's an essentially good core in everybody. And they may
Yeah,
not always
giving-
display it.
Right, giving the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
Which can be hard for some people.
Very hard,
Because
and
it
that
depends on
doesn't
their
mean
experiences.
it doesn't mean that you keep doing the same thing over and over if people keep disappointing you.
Right, right.
But it's like, okay, at least the benefit of the doubt, and we heard a lot of that recently. Everybody deserves a chance, and
to have hope. I think hope is important too.
oh yeah,
Especially, with our country,
yeah,
because it is a little bit in turmoil, to say the least.
It
and
is. I mean, we've joined the universe, and that's what we were talking about. We've joined the universe because there are many countries in turmoil. We were always we were always the leader.
Yeah, the leader.
People would look to us, and now it's like, whoops.
I know, the leader of the world.
We're not sure what we're doing right now, but we're going to work it out.
We have our vulnerabilities.
Yeah, and I think
which everybody has. So
and
almost a reflection, like a mirror.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, yeah.
And I do feel that the eyes are upon us. It's like, how are they going to handle this? They've always been so calm and secure, or they've always, well, I don't think they've always been calm and secure, but that's the image we give. that's the act as if that we have. It's like, sure, we know what we're doing.
Right,
and now
right.
it's like, you know what? At this point, it stands that half the country is wrong and half is right. And so how do you resolve that? But I have faith that we will, and are on the road to doing that right now. And I think that this is an absolute perfect time for us to become the real leader. It's easy to lead when things are great.
Through innovation.
Through innovation, yes.
And we're getting rid of the load, which
We
are all the problems.
We're sharing the load, yes.
We're sharing the load.
Rather than
And
carrying the load of that's so interesting.
creating
the load of the world on us because we
Yeah.
have all the answers and all the resources.
Right, we'll
No,
be
we don't.
sharing.
Yeah.
That's right, we'll be sharing with the
Yeah.
world. The world will be sharing more and creating a better world.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that is part of the vision.
And it's very easy to be a leader and strong and self-assured when all things are going right. The real test for leadership is when things are a bit confused. And
Turning the challenges into opportunities.
exactly. This is
It goes so well with all the cards.
It's so scary. So
amazing.
we're out
Yeah.
of time, but I'm thrilled with the cards we chose.
Yeah, thank
I would have never
you.
thought. Thank you, Laura,
Yeah,
for being.
yeah, it was a
This was
pleasure.
kind of her idea, and we said, Liza, let's go with it and let's really do it crazy. And we did. So I thank you so much for being on the
Yeah,
show.
thank you, too.
Yeah, and
I
let's go out
enjoyed
there
it.
and lead.
Yes, be leaders.
Definitely.